praying it through and talking it through. And it was about a year ago that Tammy Donahue, who is, of course, our general supervisor and my boss, if you will, began to coach me. And what she said to me, well, really was what I was saying to her, which was, this job doesn't fit me. It's not really how I'm wired. And so she said, well, I want you to change the job then. So over the next year, she said, I want you to rewrite your job description and make it so that it fits your gifts, and reorganize the staff so that they all fit around your gifts and the whole thing. I tried that for a year and it didn't work. The staff did great, but rewiring my job description didn't work. So this year in April, she came back again, which she does every year with all the supervisors, and we sat down, Susan and I sat down with her for the entire day, and very quickly I just said to her, I can't do this job 3.5 more years. It's not a fit for me. And I want to finish well with Jesus. I don't want to gimp my way to the finish line. I want to finish well. I want to be doing what Jesus wants me to do when He takes me home. Aren't you that way too? And so sometimes it requires courage. For me, it required courage that day to say, knowing that I'm firing myself, or I'm handing her the ability to fire me. And to our complete shock, the reverse happened, which doesn't that often happen that way with God when you surrender? What you think is going to happen, like last night when I surrendered and pulled over? What I thought was going to happen didn't happen. In the same way, I surrendered and said, Tammy, I love you, and I love this district so much and all the pastors, but this role doesn't fit me anymore, and I don't want to finish poorly. I don't want to serve these pastors poorly. They deserve better. And so, to my surprise, she said, well, we don't want to lose you guys. So, why don't you sit down and write your job description and tell me what you want to do with the next 3.5 years of your life, and we'll keep paying you. But you do what you want to do and what you believe God has gifted you to do, because that's how you're going to serve us the best. And so we said, okay, we can do that. So that's what we've been doing. It was 6 weeks later, our family was up at Mount Shasta. Now, when we say Shasta, we've learned very quickly that many people think we mean Lake Shasta. That's not what we mean. There's no houseboats and all that stuff. Mount Shasta is 45 minutes north of Lake Shasta. And it's an actual mountain. That's why it's called Mount Shasta. And it's the only other 1,000-foot peak in California. And it's just a beautiful, amazing setting. And we had been going there when we pastored the church in winters every summer with our kids. So for them, this was their kind of home away from home. So we rented some cabins, and we were going to spend a week. All of our family, our children and our grandchildren, we're all going to be together for a week. Such a wonderful thing. While we were there, Monday to Friday, on Wednesday, we kept passing by this house that was for sale. But we're not even thinking about Mount Shasta at all. And the Wednesday I said to Susan, we ought to just look at this house. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to look at it, right? I know we're not moving here, but we could. It's a beautiful house. It's an amazing setting. Let's just go in and look at it. So Thursday we went in and looked at it. And in my imagination, not that specific house, but that style of setting and house, was what I had always imagined in my mind that I would want to buy for my wife if I could ever afford it. But I knew I could never afford it. Because where we live, that house would be $2 million. You're a real estate agent, you know what I'm talking about. It would be easily $2 million. It's on 3 acres, has a creek behind it, has a view of Mount Shasta out the back. It's a 3,100 square foot house, plus a detached 3-car garage, a tractor. I mean, it's just got... And yes, we are sending out a Christmas card in overalls and a pitchfork. It will be there. It is Green Acres, and we are green. For you old folks in the room. But that was Thursday. Friday, we had to go back and see it again. Friday we went in and We had 2 of our kids with us. They cried. They said, "Dad, this is the house. You guys are supposed to live here." So I texted Tammy and I said, "Well, you told me to write my job description. Here it is. We're going to buy this house and we're going to move in. It won't cost the denomination anything. We're paying for it. And we will invite pastors to come up 2 days a week, because I'm not Robbie Booth and I can't do the 5-day-a-week thing. But for 2 days, come in Sunday night, leave Wednesday morning, that kind of a thing. We'll spend 2 days coaching, mentoring, counseling, whatever they need, and then we'll send them back, and hopefully they'll be better than before they came. We'll just turn it into a pastoral retreat center. And it won't cost the denomination anything. And we won't charge the pastors. I mean, how good can it get? I was making my pitch. And within the hour, she responded back, text, it's all by text, and she said, "Wonderful plan, go for it." 4 days later, we're in escrow for this house. And freaking out. Because it was contingent on the sale of our house in San Ramon. And the market had kind of softened at that point. Anyway, the short story is, of course, our house did sell, not without a little drama. But it sold, and we own the house up there now in Shasta, and we're renting back the house we used to own in San Ramon, and a week from tomorrow we'll be moving to Mount Shasta. Thank you. Thank you. But my point in saying that is, if I hadn't recognized the season of life that we were in, I might have tried to hold on to this job. Because it's a great job. I mean, getting to serve people like you, come on. It's like the greatest job in the world. I'm just not that good at it anymore. And I'm willing to admit it. Because it has changed a little bit over the 7.5 years I've been doing it. It's just not for me anymore. But I had to recognize that, and I had to own it, and I had to be willing to let go of it for God to come up with something else. He didn't come up with it before I surrendered. He came up with it after I surrendered. I had to recognize that our season was over doing what we were doing so that He could show us what He wanted to do with the next season of our lives. And so I think it's pretty obvious that Susan and I are in a new season of life. And I have to learn how to drive a tractor. I have to learn how to fish again. I know. Pray for me, will you? Things like that. It's horrible things we're going to go through. It has 2 organic gardens. I have a black thumb. So anyway, we have a lot to pray about. But I want to read just quickly, I think it's